Hello, lovelies. Welcome back to Resistance Is Futile with me, Taylor Knighton. I'm so happy that you guys are here. As I mentioned last episode, this is the last episode of this first season. I'm so appreciative for all of you who have taken the time to watch this channel, to get to know me, to hear my struggles, to share yours, whether publicly or privately. You guys are awesome, and it feels really nice to know that I have a community of people who perhaps are going through the same thing or similar things and are open to me and my energy. So thank y'all so much. We're just getting started. I'm just getting started. I feel like when I started this channel, it was definitely a mission from God, something that I felt He put on my heart to do a long time ago. And then finally, I built up the courage to make it happen. And so this is just the beginning. 14 episodes deep, I think, and we're just gonna keep it going. But I do need a season. I like to call what I'm about to go into hibernation season. I would like a period of time to delve within, right? Because this is good. I love this sharing. This is a part of self-care for me, but I also know that I have to take time to retreat and then also focus on some other exciting projects that I see in my future. So stay tuned. I'm not going to be gone for long, I don't think. I'm only retracting so that I could continue to give what God wants me to give. So as you guys know, the saying always goes, in the words of a really famous rapper, you cannot run from the pain, you've got to run towards it. And that is why resistance is futile. So today, we are going to talk about a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for quite some time. I think I've touched on it in the past. You guys might recall, if you've been rocking with me for some time, that I did an episode called Colorism and Desirability Go Hand in Hand. This episode I will link here, but it mentions a friend that I had who, for a period of my life, who was a friend that I thought, but also was colorist, and so had these really specific ways of alienating me or putting herself on a pedestal to feel good about herself, especially when it came to external relationships, meeting men, the dating pool, had these really extreme ideas of where she stood on the totem pole. Now, that is just one aspect of a friendship that went left, right? But I want to talk about friendships and where they've gone wrong, specifically where they've gone wrong for me. Now, I imagine that these are things that have gone wrong for others. I imagine that you all will have stories of friendships that have gone left that might even outweigh the things that I've gone through. And I won't talk about anyone specifically, but I will talk about experiences that I've had in friendships that have gone wrong. So, of course, I acknowledge where I haven't been the best friend, or I could have been a better friend. And of course, there have been some other aspects where I wanted people to be better friends to me, and where I think they went wrong, and where I have gone wrong. So, as I always say, this channel is about accountability and taking onus and ownership over our lives. And so I'm not afraid to be completely transparent with myself so that y'all can do the same things with yourselves. So let's get into it. I will start with the dynamics where I felt friends haven't been the best of friends to me. And I will say this channel was birthed out, you guys know, out of a spiritual rebirth, awakening, whatever you want to call it. And in that season, in that period of my life, I did know that God was removing people from me, isolating me so that I could heal my own stuff. And so I noticed friends fell away, people fell away, you know, as any season of change or transformation or growth would happen. But even before that, I always felt like I struggled with maintaining covenant friendships. I'm someone who is very giving, who always wanted to have that like soul connection with a friend, a girlfriend. And I have that, right? I have that in my sister. Thank God. God gave me a soul bond where I have a sister who is my best friend. But of course, there are times where you want to experience people who, you know, are chosen family, right? And I've had experiences that haven't been the best, and I've had some that were great but just fell apart due to growing differently, different directions. And that is normal too. But I do realize that as God has taken away, he is also adding people in my life, which I feel so grateful for. So starting with where I think the friends went wrong, the people in the relationships the friendships that I've had where I feel like they have went wrong. One of the things that I've felt in my life, and I don't mean this to sound arrogant in any way. I don't mean to sound cocky or confident, like overly confident, because that's, you know, I have a level of confidence that I have had to grow, but it hasn't always been this way. But when I say this, hear me with clarity. I have felt that in some of my friendships, my light was shining too bright for the friend. I have felt that perhaps they weren't able to stand tall in who they were because maybe at some point my personality was big and strong and loud and boisterous and with all these opinions and feelings and excitement. This is how I do see myself, as someone who's fun and exciting. I felt like some of the friendships that I had either went wrong due to envy or jealousy, which showed up as duplication or replication, like trying to be similar to me, take on a personality or character traits that I had, or it showed up in a way that was like me getting backhanded, off-kilter compliments or anything that would knock me off of a perceived ego that they thought that I had. So what I actually want to do is, I found this video the other day and it sort of was like, oh wow, because I was already planning on talking about this topic. And so what I do want to do is insert this video right here and you all can watch it with me.
Jealousy, real quick, okay? It's not always materialistic things that people are jealous of, okay? People could be jealous of the way people love you, your personality, things that you have no control over, okay? And I think people take this lightly, okay? Jealousy is a disease. It can get dangerous quick. And I feel like too many people hang out with people that they know that they're jealous of them. You know what I mean? And it's just like you brush it off. It's like that's my girl, that's been my girl for 15 years. And I know she's a little jealous of me because of the things that she says or the things that she does or little things. It's little things. But those little things can turn big real quick, can turn dangerous real quick. I don't care how much you love these people or whatever it may be, because that's my thing, y'all. Whatever it may be, whomever it may be, let that go. You should not have jealous people around you. I I don't care how small it is. Okay.
This woman, shout out to her, by the way. I do want to give her credit where it is due. Who is this creator? Cece Mitchell. I've come across her recently, and I thought she's been really wise in her sharings. Yeah. Of course, she's talking about how it's imperative to release jealous people from your life, and who especially are in your inner circle. And that, honestly, releasing friendships has been something that has almost come too easy for me. And that's something that I'll circle back on at the end of this video. But I have noticed, of course, when you notice jealousy in friendships, it doesn't feel good, because you realize that it's not necessarily you who is the problem. You kind of feel what the problem is, but then also, how do you bring up this in someone else? Because I think jealousy is a character or heart issue that is very difficult to bring up. I bite my tongue in wanting to share a scenario specifically, but I recall a time where I had a friend who wasn't feeling good about herself and where she was, and took that out on me in a way. And it was uncomfortable, and it wasn't happy. And I almost felt like I had to dumb myself down, to shrink myself so that they could feel like they could stand tall. But in actuality, in friendships that I want to have, I wanted to be able to stand tall, and then to also have my other friends stand tall, because I like to have the opposite stand tall, because I feel like that's how we grow together. Like, instead of seeing something in me that you like and want, how about you see something in me and say, well, that's the way she does it. Maybe there's a way that I can take it on to show my own self-confidence, my own self-worth. And that's sometimes where things go wrong. It's like, I think God shows us character traits in other people that we like and want to be, or want to replicate in our lives, but not the same way in which they do it. We've got to find our own way to be built up and be strong and have our individuality. Because honestly, I talked about like duplication, replication. Yeah, they say it's a form of flattery, but I find it annoying. Yeah. I find it like, to be a nuisance, right? Because we all want to be individuals in our own right, in our own way. And I want to be someone who calls someone into their own individuality, not into me. So that's one of the ways. And obviously jealousy was going to be one of the things that came up in this conversation today. Like, who would expect a conversation is about where friendships go wrong, especially in women? Well, also in men. Let me not even I just feel like men are better at hiding it. But let's not get it twisted. This is not just a woman's issue. But yeah, to be expected that we would talk about jealousy. I don't think there's any shockers there. Now I want to get into where I might have been the issue, where I might have been the problem. And I don't want to be someone, this channel could seem very easily like not a pity party, but it could very easily seem like a place where I find all my flaws. And I don't pick on myself in that way, but I do want to be better. And so I do have to see and call out my struggle areas. And so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to hold myself accountable again, so that y'all can hold yourselves accountable. So one of the biggest areas I feel like I've struggled to be a good friend is when I have had romantic relationships come into my life, in and out of my life. I know that there are people, I actually, there's a show that I really used to like. What is the name of that show? With Kat Dennings. It's about a friend group. There's this like weird cat lady in it. Whatever. I'll find it. I'll post it here. And the very first season is about this specific issue. So I've had friendships in my life that were great friendships, great bonds. And then all of a sudden, Taylor might fall in love or in like, or even in deep like. I might fall in deep like, and my priorities and where I place my time would change. Where I place my energy, my focus would change. Because when you are not, as a woman, relationship has always been important to me. Having a mate always been something that I wanted, still is important to me. But I do recall instances where when you're not in a relationship, a romantic relationship, you are easily investing more energy into your friendships. You're spending more times on the weekends. You're putting things, and as we get older, the circumstances change. So like now we gotta schedule things with our friends, put it on the calendar, and like, you know, really work to find space for each other. But then when romantic interest came into my life, which is a natural thing for you to reprioritize time, what is unnatural about that I have to own, is that I would not be good at following up with friends. I would not be good at rescheduling if something needed to change or shift. I would be a little bit flaky. Yikes. I hate to say that that's who I once was, but nonetheless, it's my truth and I own it. I wouldn't be the best version of myself with my friends because I was investing so much energy into whoever I was dating, talking to, blah, blah, blah. And the truth about it is that's where I feel codependency is formed, right? Because codependency is needing to be with that person all the time, or wanting to spend your energy with that one person because you do so deeply care and love, whatever. But then you forget to invest in the other relationships that have been there longer, that have poured into you, that you have poured into, that need and value you, your space, your time, your energy. I have been someone who has fallen guilty of not maintaining my friendships when I was falling into something romantically. And that's something, regret is a strong word, but that is something that I know that I won't do moving forward, especially because I date differently now. My attachment style is shifting into one that is secure and less anxious. And so I have the ability to balance romantic and platonic relationships, something that I didn't necessarily have before. I'm able to split the time between what I need for myself, intimate moments, what I give to you guys, what I give to a potential mate or a mate, and then what I give to my friends and family. These are all buckets in which I want to keep full, and I don't want to over prioritize anything just because it's new and exciting. It's good. There might be a season in the beginning where you let things sort of just, you forget a little bit, you know, and that's a beautiful thing where you're just falling into something with someone and they're taking up a lot of your time. But then you have to realize I have relationships, people who care about me, people who have poured in and invested in me, that I want to continue to invest in them, and I want them to know how important they are in my life. And so that's where we have to take a step back. I had to take a step back and say, this is a thing that I don't want to do in my relationships anymore, in my platonic friendships anymore. I don't want to make my friends feel forgotten. Also, the second area where I feel I could have been a better friend in my past, which is, I'm very glad to say that it's something that I've worked on through the years because I've become more secure in who I am, is that clearly I'm someone who has a lot of opinions. Clearly I'm someone who is vocal and boisterous about the things that I think and feel. And when I was younger, it wasn't always easy for me to deliver a soft blow. It wasn't always easy for me to be delicate with my delivery. I definitely, back in the day, had a way of sharing my opinion that might have been hurtful, too strong, wrong time, you know, because I want the best from my people around me. And I, for some reason, thought that I knew the best. And not to say, I do think that there is wisdom in me. But I think that there is a time and a place for when you deliver advice. And then sometimes it needs to be solicited. Like sometimes you should wait for your friends to say to you, I'd like some advice. What do you think about this? I wasn't always the best listener, and I would listen, but I would always have something to say. And the way that I would say also could be painful. And so I wanted to learn how to be a friend who could listen, who could hear, who could empathize and show the empathy, who could be compassionate, who could be less judgmental, which is what one of the things I talked about in the last episode, gossiping. I never want the people who come to me with their brokenness or their pains or their worries in life to feel like they're going to be judged by me. I want them to feel like they will be received, and heard and comforted. And I think back in the day, I didn't have that skill to allow someone to feel comforted, as much as I had the skill of making them feel judged. And that is something that I've worked on. And I know now how to pull back and to listen, to wait for the questions and give answers when necessary. So those are two major areas where Taylor could have been a better friend. And you know what? Circling back on the jealousy point where I feel like others have gone wrong with me, I think that there are moments where, not that I have been jealous of friends, but where I have perhaps wanted something in a friend. It's the reason why you gravitate towards people, right? Because you see something in them that you find attractive. You see something in them that you find like goal worthy. And I think perhaps that there were moments in my life where I've seen a friend and I wasn't envious of them. I don't think I've ever experienced envy. I've actually had someone tell me that they've experienced envy with me, which was a hard thing to hear, but it was an honest thing. And that's how I feel like it probably wasn't even envy, because I feel like jealousy and envy, when it's in its truest, most potent form, can't be spoken that way. So that person who was in my life had a really big heart, and God bless her, love her still. But yeah, I think maybe there were moments in my life where I saw something in someone and I was like, oh, they have that skill that I love. And it didn't show up as envy. I think I would be able to, in the same way that friend that I just mentioned was able to verbalize it to me, be like, you know what? I really like that about you. And I wish that was a quality that I had in me. And I think that that's the way we have to continue to to talk to our friends, as opposed to when we're not honest with ourselves, festering with feelings inside. And some people are not even self-aware to know that they're doing it. That's really the harder conversation, right? When people don't even know when they're behaving in a jealous way, when they are reflecting, deflecting, projecting, projecting, in the words of, what's her name? Candace Dillard on Housewives of Potomac. Backhanded compliments, not being fully authentic, looking for the loopholes in who you are. Another video I came across, maybe I'll post this one here as well, or maybe not. I posted it on my story last week, where a woman was talking about monitoring spirits, is what she called them. A monitoring spirit is a friend who, as she describes it, someone who keeps close tabs on you, who watches everything you do, knows about every post you post, every story you do, doesn't interact with you. Anytime they're with you, ask a lot of questions, seeks to find your weak points, seeks to use them against you. And I kind of had this happen to me recently, which I felt was, anytime I feel like when I feel like I'm being monitored by someone, anytime my discernment awakens like that, it makes me feel sad for the person. It makes me feel like, what about your life are you not happy with right now that's causing you to be so curious about me and mine? Because to be honest with you, I don't be in people business like that. Like, I'm not, of course, when I care about people, I'm curious about who they are, what they do. But I'm never so curious to where it seems like I'm interviewing them. I'm never that curious. When I'm talking to somebody, it's natural conversation. It's not forced energy. It's not forced curiosity. When I'm talking to somebody, I don't think it feels manipulative, malicious. Any curiosities I have are current, and they don't seem like they've been thought out for days upon days. And anytime I feel like I have a monitoring spirit around me, I instantly know that there is something in their life that they are trying to block. Something in their life that they are trying to negate, avoid, distance you from seeing them, distance you from asking them. And that makes me sad, because I think authentic friendship is like authentic sharing and giving and taking, as opposed to like calculated curiosity and questioning. And so, yeah, I could probably link that below. That was a good little side tangent. Didn't want to forget about that, because that was also something that I wanted to drop right there. But yeah, jealousy obviously is a big one. And then I would say to you guys, whoever's watching, know where you fall on this spectrum. Know where you are in your friendships. Figure out where you could be doing better, how you could be better cultivating. I have a really good friend. We have a sort of understanding of our pace. And I appreciate this person, because this person sort of sees the introvert in me, even though I have the ability to do this extroverted kind of work. she sees that introvertedness in me. She's seen my weak points, and she allows me to be just like I allow her to be. And when we come together as friends, it feels magical because we allow each other to be in our authenticity. And I just wanted to call you out. I love you, Amaris, if you're watching. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for making space for me in times where I've called upon you. I hope you feel the same I know you feel the same about me. We talk to each other about this. But you're a real one, and I appreciate you. Thank you. And before I wrap this episode up, guys, thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful. I hope there are things that you were able to reevaluate in your lives. Before we close the season, I would like to leave you guys with some parting gifts. A huge part of my creativity is being able to absorb others' creativity. And I want to leave y'all with some books, some music, some things that I have either already delved into and will be listening to in my hibernation season, or things that I want to get into. So music wise, I'll probably put a little collage or something here where y'all feel y'all can dig in, and I can also list some of these artists. Music wise, one of my new favorite artists, she's not really that new, she's been around for a few years now, for me at least. And she's still underground, which I think is impossible. I don't understand how she is not like one of the biggest artists out right now. Cleo Soul, she has just released a new EP, and I think she has an album coming out next week, my God, or this week. Her new EP is called Heaven. If you're unfamiliar with her, I'd say go back to Rose in the Dark, which was an album that literally helped me heal. In my season, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago when it came out, was forwarded by a friend, forwarded it to me, and then I'd never stopped listening to her. Cleo Soul, there'll be some Madison Ryan Ward, who makes like almost like, how do I describe her music? It's almost like spiritual, soft soul kind of. She's really good. I love Madison Ryan Ward. If you guys are into eclectic stuff, I love Feist. I went to see Feist in DC a few months back. She has an album called Multitudes. She's just amazing. She makes great folk music. This last album, I feel like, is resonating with me, and I have it on vinyl. I don't want to miss an opportunity to plug you guys. If you know me, you know this is the starting point. This is Look Who's Talking, my poetry album. I've never plugged it like this specifically. I mean, I plugged it, but not like this. And so I don't want to miss it. This is a storytelling. This is my story, my journey, my healing, and the starting point to all of this. So if you haven't heard, listen to Look Who's Talking. Look Who's Talking. Books. I just ordered this. First of all, I had it on pre-order, and I've been very excited to read it. I started it a day ago, but I knew that I shouldn't start it until I was finished with this, with y'all. Dr. Anita Phillips, The Garden Within. Major plug. This woman don't know me. I don't know this woman. Forward by Sarah Jakes Roberts. I remember seeing her in one of Sarah Jakes Roberts' sermons, and I was fascinated by how she spoke. And then she popped up on my feed. I watched Devin Brown's YouTube channel. She did an interview talking about this book, and I knew that this was going to be one that I would read in hibernation season. Read it with me. Read it with me. We'll talk about it when we get back. A book that I do want to pick up, you guys, if you don't know, I am in love with Amy Winehouse, and I know that there is so much about her that was really dark, right? But there was also a lot about her that was beautiful and vibrant in her writing. Her writing, I feel like she is one of the best writers of my time. Just Shakespearean, in my opinion. Excellent writing skills. And so there's a new book that I think obviously she wrote. I think what it does is it details, it's called In Her Words. And it specifically shows her poems, how she wrote them. I think perhaps even before they were turned into songs and like, edited and changed, poems. And I'm hoping that I get some that were like songs that we didn't even get to hear. So I will be picking that book up. Let me look at my Barnes and Noble if there's anything else that I wanted to pick up. Oh, one thing that I've been wanting to work on better is being more selfless. I think I'm naturally a generally giving person, but I do know that when I am in an unbothered state, I can be very irritable. And this will probably be something that comes up in season 2. And so I will be reading Enough About Me, The Unexpected Power of Selflessness by Richard Liu. Read it with me. I'll link it here. I'll post a picture, a little whatever. I'll figure it out. So yeah, I hope you guys are happy with the parting gifts. Please share with me what y'all like to listen to. We're about to get into this holiday season. Eat good, feel good, be around people who make you feel seen. I love you guys, and I will see you next time.